Okay, this is like take seven on this. I'm trying to make this upbeat and fun, but the bottom line is we're not out of the woods yet. Today's Monday, and we had another huge uptick in the 10-year bond and thus mortgage rates. Mortgage rates track along with the 10-year bond. Uh, this is probably different on Tuesday. This happened at this time in 2022 and 2023. This could be just people dumping out of their bond and mortgage backed securities holdings to hoard cash. It could have to do with a lot of things. There are no economic reports today to indicate why this happened. Nobody knows what's going on here, except maybe it's just a yearly thing when people just do this and companies. Hopefully, it'll be like 2022 and 2023, and in the ensuing days, the rates will settle back down. So I have no explanation for you. But this isn't really a topic on the street right now. But this is. Oregon Ducks are number one, and good for them. You know, great team, great coach, good job. Uh, One discount is going to get you in the sixes, but not the fives. It will get you in the fives still. So this is a blip, and we don't need to be talking about this and making a mountain out of a molehill. This is something that's on my mind because I have pending locks I need to navigate, but business as usual for you. And speaking of business as usual, thank you so much to Monica and to Lorraine on separate deals and separate conversations. They both called me back after the conversation to say, hey, wait, now are we talking about a seller contribution for BAC or for buyer closing costs? And each time we clarified it, and each time I was very glad that we did. And that wasn't me doing that, that was them. And thank you for teaching me to do that on every transaction from now on. I'm going to explicitly talk to the agent about here's what I mean when I talk about seller concessions. I'm talking about, for my buyer here, that they don't have any money for closing costs. So we have to silo in our minds the BAC and the buyer's closing cost seller concessions so that we know what we're talking about. There is no confusion and there's no mayhem at the closing table after we can't really change things. So thank y'all so much. Uh, we talked last time I was in about my interest only investment property loan. This is one where the interest only rate is the same, pretty much the same, as a normal amortizing principal and interest loan. You can stoke your investor client loyalty by talking to them and reaching out. If they closed on an investment property purchase since COVID, the rate's probably pretty high and they're probably paying principal and interest. And the likelihood that it's cash flowing may be low depending on the property. So I can work up scenarios to refinance the property. I don't need an application. Just tell me kind of where they're at. And I can work up a couple of blurbs to say your payment might be able to go here if you're paying interest only on a lower rate. It's like going from an 8% rate to close to a 6.0 right now. And that's going to help for these few years, it's going to help cash flow. And maybe it'll free up the cash to buy another property through you. So talk about that with your client base, send people my way, no obligation. And I don't need an application. I can just pencil it and we'll see where we're at. I will see you next week with better news.